Let me tell you something. Julie, I don't know what you put in this book, but I feel like it's working. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And I might seem everywhere right now, but I'm going to try to like make it all sound full circle. But God knows I have been tested this week. Tested. And this is a safe space for me. I'm talking to me. So I'm going to try to be as open and honest as I can and vulnerable. I basically had 2 projects that I was working on. 2 projects. And the first one went, they removed me from it. And then the second one went all the way left, like all the way left. And so I found out both of these, I found out that I was cut from one and the other one went left like pretty much in a 24-hour period. And as I was driving back home, I said, God, I am mad at you. Like, why did I come out? I was being hysterical. Like, why did I come out here to do these things? And it's like we playing musical chairs. I sit down thinking, okay, this is my seat, and you just yank it from me. I felt angry this week. I felt a little bit of jealousy. I felt embarrassment. I felt like I was grieving something. I felt dumb. Like, who am I to have opportunities and think that I'm gonna make it somewhere? Who am I? Like, I was like, who do I think I am? Like, so as I was driving back to Atlanta, I said, God, I'm gonna go to church because I need to have an experience with you. I need you to talk to me. So I ended up finding a church. I went to this church. I went there and I sat down for like 30 minutes. I was kind of upset because I was like, God, you're not talking to me. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I'm irritated. I don't even know, like, but then I felt something come over me. And it came over me and I feel like God was just saying, listen, like, listen. So the preacher was talking and the pastor said, Paul realized that he was not fighting flesh and blood, but he was fighting intangible things that he cannot see. And when I say I had a revelation, my mind was like, I realized that I am not fighting like people. Even if people are doing me wrong, I'm not fighting those people. I'm not going against those people. I'm going against those emotions and the mindsets. Like how I felt embarrassment, jealousy, anger, guilt, dumb. Those are not emotions of the Lord. Those are emotions of the enemy. And I had to go through what I went through this week to realize, like, oh my God, y'all are not my enemy. Like, y'all are not my enemy. And at that moment, I realized that God is going to talk to you how he wants to talk to you. I wanted him to say what I needed him to say, but what I wanted him to say. And he was like, no, son, I'm going to talk to you how I'm going to talk to you like a parent should. So that was crazy. But this week, man, Julia was talking about anger, synchronicity, shame, and growth. And let me tell you, it's like I see things aligning, I feel like. So with anger, Julia said, anger is meant to be listened to. Anger is a voice, a shout, a plea, a demand. Anger is meant to be respected. Why? Because anger is a map. Anger shows us what our boundaries are. Anger shows us where we want to go. It lets us see where we've been and lets us know when we haven't liked it. And I was so profound by that. I was like, okay. And the examples that she used, I was like, Julia, shut your mouth. Like, shut your mouth. Cause example was, she said, blast him. I could make a better film than that. What your anger is really saying is that you want to make movies and you need to learn how. Another example, I can't believe it. I had this idea for a play 3 years ago and she went and wrote it. What your anger is really saying is stop procrastinating. Ideas don't get open in nights. Finishing plays do. Start writing. Another one, that's my strategy he's using. This is incredible. I've been ripped off. I knew I should have pulled that material together and copyrighted. Your anger is saying it's time to take your own ideas seriously enough to treat them well. And my mind was blown. Because it's not only that you can listen to anger, but you can listen to anger, embarrassment, jealousy, guilt, being dumbfounded. Every single emotion, just listen to it. And we be so upset that we're angry and that we don't even listen to why we angry. So that was powerful. And she said that anger is not a nice or gentle friend. Anger is a very, very, very loyal friend and it wants you to see something. So I was like blown away. Like, I'm not even like an angry person, but in this moment when I was angry, I had to ask myself, like, why are you so upset? Like, what's going on? And it was because I felt like every time I sat, God was just, oh, oh. But what God has for me is for me, and can't nobody take that from me. I can't take it from nobody else. I gotta trust the plan. And I know in my heart that I will be a prolific artist. I will be a heavy hitter actor. And it's like, I have that sensor in my head that says, oh, don't say it because, you know, what if it doesn't come true? Man, it is going to come true because I said it's going to come true and I've been praying about it. Like, no, I know I'm talented. I know I have a voice. It's just time for me to use it. I'm tired of being shrunk, feeling small because of opinions of people that I don't even know anymore. I'm holding on to high school things and thinking, when I'm writing a song, I'm thinking of somebody that I haven't talked to in 5 years, 2 years. Why? I'm tired of that. No, write your music and do what you have to do. Stop playing. I'm not about to wake up 30 years from now and realize that I'm not where I want to be because of opinions. I will be gladly, if I give my all and I still am not where I want to be, okay, I'll try my best. But I refuse to not be where I want to be over some opinions. Absolutely not. No. This week, Julia was talking about synchronicity as well, and this blew my mind. I didn't know what synchronicity was. And basically, synchronicity is coincidences that seem to be meaningful. So the church that I went to, I was having a spiritual experience, and they were having a men's conference. Synchronicity already right here. I prayed to God. I said, God, I don't care what anybody looks like. I want you to put me around people that you want me to be around. I want to be around men, preferably, because I don't have any male role models, and that was put in my favor. That was put upon me. So I went to this men's conference, and it was an experience. The pastor was preaching. They were talking about how a lot of men in this world, they try to dominate women. They try to seek validation from other men and go on TikTok and Instagram and see what it is to be a man because they don't feel like a man. And deep down inside, we don't feel like men because our father has not told us. We haven't had a father to tell us, son, I'm proud of you. Like God told Jesus when he was getting baptized. In that moment, I was like, oh my God, have I been seeking validation because I just wanted to be around my dad? I remember being like 8, 9 in the 1st and 2nd grade and being like, and depicting myself and asking myself, why don't my dad want me? Is it because I don't play basketball? Is it because I'm not this? Imagine being in 1st, 2nd grade, asking those questions. Then I would go to school and try to look up his first and last name and try to find him and see what he looked like. But anyway, so they had like a lot of different men from Asian, Mexican, Spanish, white, black, tall, short, like 30 men at the altar. And they said, if you're the head of the household and you need to be blessed and you need to be told that you are a man, this is not us telling you, this is God telling us through this person. So come up here. I went up there. That was already an emotional experience within itself. And yeah, so synchronicity, as I went to, so I go down the altar And as I go to make, as they tell me, why every time I'm recording a video, it's a helicopter coming, like, bro. But as I went to make a right back to go to my seat, because it was a lot for me, I was becoming tired. When I became too emotional, I had to take a break. I have to just get myself together. Some man was like, no, go that way. And if I wasn't feeling emotional, I would have said, nah, my seat's over here. I'm going to go over here. But I was just jaded with emotions. So I just went this way. Walked out. I was like, I sat down. It's a guy around my age comes walking towards me. And he looks at me. I looks at him. He goes in the building. And then he walks back out and was like, do you need to talk? And at this point, I've been vulnerable enough. I don't want to share anymore. Like, so I told him no. And he said, are you sure? And then I said, if you want to listen. So I started telling him how, like, what the pastor was saying was facts. And I was like, I just felt it in my spirit. And as I started talking, I just started bawling my eyes out. Bawling. And this man just hugged me in a way I ain't never been hugged before. And was like, it's going to be okay. I understand. This is not me hugging you. This is Jesus hugging you. And I say synchronicity because, one, if that man wasn't right there, I wouldn't have had that experience to walk over across to the altar. And then on top of that, this guy said that he'd been thirsty since the beginning of the service, but he didn't want to walk out during praise and worship. So he was trying to figure out the right time. And then when he seen me, he said I had the same look on my face that his girlfriend had because she was going through the same thing. So I find it so crazy. Like, Julia was talking about synchronicity, and she was saying that basically answered prayers are scary and they force us to be responsible. And that's why people call these these events coincidences. Like, it's just a coinkydink, because it's easy for people to believe that God is not real. Because if God is not real, then there's no hope, and, you know, we're off the hook. We can do what we want to do. But she was like, no, whether you believe in God or not, there is a higher power, and you are going to be, you know, accountable. So that was good. That was, even emotionally right now, I'm just feeling like I'm already drained. But yeah. So then she started talking about shame. And I never really knew I went through shame until I read this. She said, shame is a controlling device. Shaming someone is an attempt to prevent that person from behaving in ways that embarrasses us. Making a piece of art may feel like telling a family secret, and my mind was blown. Even like past family, but just like if I'm in a relationship and I want to talk about how this specific situation affected me, when I'll be writing, in the middle of me writing, I would convince myself not to write because I felt like, oh my God, how are they going to look at me? They're going to not like me. They're going to take it as a diss. But this is my truth. This is my truth. This is what I went through. And I'm pretty sure I make music not only for myself, but I really want to share it with people that go through what I go through, and that they can know it's not just you going through this. And for so long, I shamed myself. I shamed myself for friendships, relationships, family situations to not talk about, because I felt like I was, again, sharing a secret that was forbidden to share. And she said, when people don't want to see something, they get mad at the one who shows them. And that was crazy. That was crazy. Something to think about. She said, art brings healing, but before it can heal, it must be seen. And honestly, this week, I felt so shamed that I was a rapper. I know in week 1, I was saying, I know, where I want to go, and you know. But as I was sitting at the church, I just felt like something was, I want to say it was the enemy, and I'm going to say why. Because I just felt condemned, like, oh, you shouldn't be making this type of music. You're not serving God, this, that, and the third. And I felt like, oh my God, do I need to stop making music? And I was so combative with myself. I was like, oh my God, you know? But at a point, I just had enough. Because I can tell myself things and every thought is not me. I don't know what's God and what's the devil at that point. So I was like, you know what? I went in my prayer closet and I said, God, if you don't want me to do this, it's going to be hard. But I want to audibly hear you tell me to stop, and I will stop. I will do whatever you want me to do. But until then, I'm going to keep making it. And what I did, I made my first gospel rap to prove to myself and whatever that voice was that I am not serving God, because I definitely am. God always has the glory. Always. Always. And I'm not perfect, but God will always have the glory. Period. And she talked about criticism as well, along with shame, and how people will try to critique artists to shame them. That's what all social media is at a point. For real, for real. People be like, people will get mad at somebody for sharing a specific message and call the art trash, when no, the art's not trash. You just don't like the message because you wasn't ready to hear that. And she said, and I've had this experience as well, where well-meaning friends can constructively criticize an artist and kill that artist. I've had friends who I've shown rough drafts to, and they be like, oh, the quality just isn't that good. I just told you I recorded it on my phone and it's a rough draft. Why would the quality be good? It's like, I have learned how to share my music with specific people, preferably artistic individuals who understand. If I say it's a rough draft, you're not going to hear perfect notes and this and that. It's literally a demo. Expect a demo. Don't expect. Yeah. She said, learn where and when to seek the right criticism. And she was saying that taking in the first doubt, we need to stop taking in doubt, because taking in the first doubt is like an alcoholic picking up their first drink. When I start feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough, then that other thought comes in. Oh, I'm not going to make it. Other thought. Oh, no. When I hear that first doubt, boom, smack it. No, I am good. I am a great artist. I will be a prolific artist. I already am that. My work comes to good. My creativity comes from God. My dreams come from God, and God has the effort, the will to create them. He gave me my visions. So, yeah. And she said the antidote for shame is self-love and praise. So remember that, Judah. Remember that. Because I didn't know I was going through shame until I read this chapter. But, yeah. Yeah. Self-love and praise. And she was saying that growth, to sum it all up, growth is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And creative recovery is a healing process. I can do great things on Wednesday and then on Thursday slide back. Growth happens in spurts. Don't get discouraged if I am dormant. And I used to feel discouraged if I was not productive a day and I trying to do things and it's not coming how I want to come. Growth happens in spurts. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, baby. It's like that. And I've been doing morning pages try to do it every morning. Some days I don't. Some days I do like 1 or 2. Because, you know. But she said morning pages, and this blew my mind, boy. Morning pages seem pointless, but they aren't. Writing even when you're tired and dull teaches you to rest on the page. Julia, talk, bruh. Talk. Like, what? I have been in a point where I've made some songs this week where I literally have described exactly how I felt. And I haven't done that in a long time. One of the artists that I look up to is SZA, because she can just write and it sounds like a paragraph and it sounds like she's just talking. And I admire that. I want that. And this week, with the pages and the situations I've been going through, I've finally been able to just write exactly what I feel. And I remember when Summer Walker was like, I can't perform certain songs because they bring up emotional, past for me. And back then, when she said that, I was like, man, girl, what you talking about? Like, you need to do what you was paid to do. But as I listen to these songs, which I haven't shared with anybody, I realized that these songs are like a piece of my heart. They're like a secret. And sharing them and putting them out there and even performing them can feel like I'm giving out a piece of my heart. And you don't want to always put out what, you know, your deepest creative moments, because people can be savages. But that's when we learn that we have to be strong in our minds and our hearts, that what we doing is what we doing. And lastly, she said, practice being kind to yourself in small ways. Do one kind thing for yourself a day. God helps those who helps themselves. When you do one good thing for yourself, God will do two. Commit to quiet time and check in with yourself. And this week was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. Boy, was it a roller coaster. And boy, I'm like 90% acceptance of what all happened. And I'm almost at that 100%. And like, I'm almost there. I'm like 90% acceptance, and I'm almost at that 100%. But I know if I just keep working, I'm gonna get to where I need to be. And this week, recording, I feel good. I feel like accomplished. I like to have Sundays be my rest day where I don't do anything. So Saturday, I just cleaned up my house, did my chores. Today, I'm just relaxing and just flowing. I like to be a free spirit and just float. Just float. Not all the time, because I have to make sure I don't, you know, but float. Today is my floating day. I do what I feel. Next week, because I haven't read what next week will be like. And this week we were really diving into our inner child, and I was able to remember some things that I forgot about. So this week was crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Crazy, boy. I cannot wait to... Yeah. So week 4, recovering a sense of integrity. This week may find you grappling with changing self-definition. The essays, tasks, and exercises are designed to catapult you into productive introspection and interrogation of new self-awareness. This may be both very difficult and extremely exciting for you. Warning, do not skip the tool of reading deprivation. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, this week was like a turnaround from last week. It started out terrible. But I feel like I'm up. I'm ready. I'm excited. And I've been having like creative bursts of energy. Like last night I stayed up to like 4 o'clock in the morning, just literally listening to my music and just seeing visions. And I haven't been able to see visions in a long time from my music. That's what was scaring me for the past couple of months. That's why I got this book, because when I write songs, I'm able to see the music video already.